I'm Kim from XVI Tarot, and we're here this evening to discuss the Tower. Oh, I'm about to show you the Chariot. Good start. All right, we'll start again. Okay, so today we're talking the Tower. So it's just a basic, not basic, it's just a discussion really. It's not really a reference point. So I'm thinking if you're beginner, actually it doesn't matter. I think all information is helpful. I'm actually going to do some deck comparisons and just talk generally about the card, and possibly like alternate meanings and the spiritual implications of this card, and the spiritual interpretation, which is how I interpret the cards. Yeah. So here we go. Should I do that in a sec? So basically, the Tower is one of the clearest cards in the deck. It is, it's a physical card too. External forces that are completely beyond your control. If the Tower comes up, it is out of your control. So it's a clear card, and it's about sudden, shocking revelations, shocking truths, all sudden and all quite shocking and all out of your hands, external. So in that way, it is the clearest card in the deck because you know there is a big surprise coming, or something something's going to shock you. Not necessarily bad, but there'll be something shocking and it will change. There'll be revelation. There'll be truth. And what it will do is it will knock down false foundations, false beliefs, all of that sort of stuff. So it's very clear what this card is and its function. What's not clear with the Tower is the extent, the size of it, I guess. It can be minor. It can be a phone call, with some sudden news, bad news. It could be much, much bigger. I mean, this card is commonly, throughout time, it's been mostly associated with divorce. It's called the divorce card, accidents card. Can't think of anything else right now. Divorce, accidents, fire, just really negative stuff. And the reason it's called the divorce, I think, is because of the male and the female being, well, tossed out of the Tower, really. It has to do with house fires and just accidents, just really drama-packed stuff. But this Tower is about, that's the false foundation, that's the false belief, that's the false, that's the deception, the self-denial, whatever it is, whatever the falsity is, that's what that is. Yeah, so it's actually a great card. I mean, it's truth, it's clarity, and it will come at whatever cost. It depends how big the denial or how big the deception or falsity is, or how entrenched you are in that Tower. So it's ruled by Mars. It's number 16 in the major arcana. Mars being a very fiery, forthright planet, I guess. It's the planet of arms. It's ready to do battle. It's confrontational planet. So Mars is the lower octave of Pluto. So Mars is the ruler of Aries, and Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. So that's why this card is associated with those two signs. When it's Scorpionic, then we're looking at more the spiritual transformation that will occur. And this can be an awakening, because the bolt of lightning, which is the revelation, the truth, the news, the intuition, even sometimes, just that flash of insight, that truth. And once we know that truth, and once it's blinded our minds, we can't return to Yeah, not truth. That was said very badly. There's no going back once you do know the truth. Yes, the bolt of lightning is the illumination, and this is the false, the false tower, false beliefs, all that stuff, and the chaos thereafter. The fire, the lightning sets it on fire, but fire, yes, can be mighty destructive, but it's also wholly cleansing. Fire is so cleansing because of the, well, it changes the chemical compositions, doesn't it, and releases them in a different form, and it's very, very cleansing fire. So I guess, I don't guess, the destructive force of this fire, that would be the lower octave, the Mars Aries element, and that's certainly earthly and physical. So that can even be violence. Yeah, this card, because of the intensity of this, card, of emotions within this card, it can be rage, it can be hate, and that's the lower octave, the Mars, at its worst, most negative, and then there'd be negative cards around it to imply that. But in the higher octave scorpionic element of this card, then we would be talking about the cleansing fire, which will bring renewal, which will, I mean, once these foundations are permanently crumbled, they're gone. There's no going back. So we cleanse and we start rebuilding on truth, hopefully. So it's number 16, as I said, which is 10 plus 6. 10 and 6, 1 and 6. But 1 and 6 is 7. 1 plus 6 is 7. So it also relates back to the Chariot card. The Chariot has to do, number 7, has to do with it's a combination of the mother and father, 3 plus 4. And in that, because of the loving and the stern boundaries and the discipline of the emperor, the father, through that we find self-control and direction. And that's why the Chariot, number 7, is able to steer these two sphinxes who basically want to go in the opposite direction, which is the same as the emperor and the empress. He can steer them in unison. And that is how he steers direction. That is self-control and determination, but also self-love in a loving way, loving, firm way, that he marches towards his goal, or charioteers towards his goal, and it's successful. That's victory and success, number 7, and that's how that happens. However, with this, this external, so this is control gone crazy, and it's externalized, and it's got out of control, and it's got to come down, basically, and it's only going to take something like this, like some sort of revelation or lightning flash from God or the divine, that will bring people to their senses. Now, so it's number 16, and it comes after the devil, which is mostly to do with temptations. It's very satanic. And depending how we go with that, this is to do with attachment too, addictions, attachment. Obviously, we've marched on because we've built our tower of attachment here in whatever fashion. It's got to come down. But afterwards, this is what I meant by it's the most clear, shocking card of the deck. But it's quick, it's sudden, and it's out of the way. We just don't know the extremities of it, how far-reaching, how big it'll be. Afterwards comes the beautiful star, number 17. So we go Devil. So we reach the climax. Devil, Tower, God's mercy. This is merciful, this bolt of lightning. And hopefully after this and after the tower crumbles, we begin to rebuild on firm foundations of healthy ego, with divinity, with God, and not in ego. But if we don't, we'll be back here again. And as readers, it's a card that we see quite often because it's about making mistakes or heading in the wrong direction. And if you don't pull your own head in, God or the divine or the universe will do it for you, which is I think it's very merciful. Hopefully, it's not too big a blow. That means that you probably are pretty self-aware, and the universe will rein it in pretty quickly. But yeah, it's all relative. It's all very perceptual, and everyone's journey is unique. And the loving starwards. So the star is, well, look at it, it's a star. It's hope and healing. It is so nourishing, soul nourishing, and healing, this card. The star acts between the conduit between the heavens and the earth. So she provides that heavenly love and healing here on earth. These springs, she provides, but they're eternal, they're abundant. So we should never despair. I always love the star. Who doesn't want to heal? You need some healing after the tower. Some healing will help too while you're rebuilding your foundations. Okay. Okay, so now we'll look at some other decks. Just look at, mostly it's pretty tried and true, the old tower. It's universally accepted between all decks. And it's a pretty good metaphor for a lot of things. I should have mentioned too, I'll put it in the notes, but this is Rider-Waite deck, which is one of the 3 traditions of tarot. It's like a bit of a tarot Bible, I guess. Everyone refers back to the Rider-Waite. It's the accepted backbone of all tarot. Right. Something else I was going to say. Just 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so it's a bit of a rude awakening, the old tower, but it's an awakening that we need, and it can actually just mean a spiritual, well, not just mean, it's a beautiful thing, a spiritual awakening, that bolt of lightning, that waking up. You never know everyone's unique. It could be something so random that would suddenly make you, on your spiritual journey. Okay. I can't see where, there I am. Good. Okay. So some other decks, so that will show that one. I am almost done. Right. Right. So this is the Scarabeo deck. And I think it's just a standard deck. It might have been the first deck. But it it actually amalgamates, or it's supposed to, amalgamates the 3 traditions of tarot, being Crowley-Thoth Tarot, Marseille deck, and the Rider-Waite. Okay. So it's pretty, hang on. not very good at this. I got that upside down. No. Do you? No. Okay. So that's it's pretty much the same sort of thing, except it's gone for an all-seeing eye. But it's gone with those geometrical shapes, which is interesting because when we look at Crowley-Thoth deck, it really shows, I guess it takes the humanity out of it, all of these sort of geometric shapes. It's not really, yeah, anyway, it's just sort of different colors, I guess, and it's still the man and woman being tossed out of the tower, and we've got destruction, which is pretty good destruction there, isn't it? There's nothing really too different apart from the colors. Yeah, so that's the low Scarabeo. This is actually a new deck of mine. I'm fascinated with it. It's got some really unique, yeah, I haven't been using it a great deal, but I really, it'll take a while to get to know it because it's called a vice versa tarot, and it's got the rear, well, it's vice versa, so it's got pictures on both sides. But what I like about it is it's not, I don't have any shares with it or anything. It's not just the rear of the card. Like they've really put thought into, it's a completely inverted take on, yeah, it's you're basically getting, oh, now I have to think what 78 is. 172 cards, like basically in it, because they are completely different, the rear of them. But this is the tower, which is, it's gone with the dark sort of similar to the Rider-Waite, but they've gone with like a bluey color. So it's all the same similar theme, but they've just decided on their own unique colors and things. Oh yeah, with Mars, you see this bird down here? Mars is, well, he rules with the sword because it's the battle ready ever planet of this sort of soldier, you know, ready to do battle at any time. But the sword is his weapon of choice. It represents the sword, which in tarot swords are, well, they're thoughts, but they're also words. So has a lot to do with and Mars's mouth, rules the mouth. Swords, they are all connected. I just didn't point it out very well. So that's this bird here. It represents air, which is the sword. That's why often with the tower, it'll be news, sudden shocking news or truth that will be told, mouth, verbal. Truth usually. So it'll be phone call, whatever, I don't know, how we receive, talking to somebody, whatever. But usually it's verbal. Now, interesting though, as I said, it because 1 and 6 is 7, which hails back to the Chariot. So they have similar energies. It's a polar. On the rear of the vice versa card, it's got, oh goodness, I'm bad at this, aren't I? Yeah, it's got the 2 sphinxes sitting at the base. So that's how out of control, because the internal control wasn't being exercised anymore. The sphinxes are just sitting out here waiting. They're just like, oh yeah, because no self-control is being exercised anymore from the 7, from the charioteer. When the fool mastered that, but then got lost along his journey in attachment and materialism, who knows, whatever the falsities were. And here they are, sitting down, patiently waiting. All right, when you want to come back. I love it. It just reinforces the link back to the number 7 chariot. And there's too much glare, so I'm not going to. But yeah, that really reinforces it. And that's what I mean. See how different the rear is? I mean, it's not just like your snapshot of what's at the back there. It's a completely different pic. with the Sphinx. And I love tarot. Yes. And this is Crowley-Thoth. Always unique. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Now see, he's emphasized the mouth. See, and it's look at that. That's fury. That's vengeance. That is an outpouring of hate, which it can be. As I said, it can be violence. It can be vengeance. It can be hate, and it will be violence plus verbal, whatever. It can be a huge argument and things like that. I mean, there's so many things it could be, but that, I mean, there's so much in this picture, isn't it? But Mars is red, and you know, they certainly emphasize the yellow and the reds. So that is Scorpio is black, though. So he has correctly, in my estimation, still gone for the black background, the base background. So we've got all this activity and all the reds and the yellows, but we've still got that black, which is the unknown, which is the scorpionic realm. And that's Pluto, Plutonic stuff. So that would be, and as I was saying before, there's so much in that card. I'm not going to unpack that. That's a whole video by itself, I think. My spiritual interpretation and in its best light and what I want it to be when I see it, when I read for others, well, not everyone, obviously, is ego death. Because ego is, that's what's the self-control and mastery that was in the Chariot, that has just gone berserk. And that's ego when the Chariot then goes ahead and forges ahead by himself, not in conjunction with divine, relying on external validation, and that's ego. So in the best positive, spiritual interpretation is ego death. And that enlightenment, that bolt of lightning, that's reconnection with divine, with divinity. That is awakening, hopefully a spiritual awakening, which anytime, if you're having a spiritual awakening, it's automatically an ego death at the same time. So it's the destruction, by destroying, we create. It's that cycle of life, the snake eating its tail kind of thing. Through destruction comes creation. It's just the circle of life. But it has to be quite violent, fortunately. All right, so definitely something else I was going to say. There's always something else I was going to say. I'm not doing too bad. All right. I still haven't looked at the rider weight, but it's all right. Now, this one is, hang on. I've just switched, no, it doesn't matter. So this deck is, I was going to say LS, but it's not. It's Wonderland, the Wonderland deck. And that's their tower. So I think that, I was looking at it earlier and it doesn't really represent the tarot, I was thinking, but because I think they've gone as the huge Alice being the tower, I don't know. Well, she does destroy stuff and she scares the crap out of the rabbit, that's for sure. And poor Bill gets shot out the chimney. But I'm not sure how it's not really, yeah. I have to look at it, and I have to sort of go back and look at that moment in Alice in Wonderland. Anyway, it's pretty cool. Look at the rabbit. He does look like he's been shocked into straightening up his ways, I reckon. Poor guy. All right. Right. So, get that one out. So, basically, just wanted to yabber about the tower, and we'll just lastly look at the card. And I actually think with the Rider-Waite, I think I'm mostly sort of numerology, planetary, based when it comes to tarot. And imagery is nice, and it can sort of add some layers onto the tarot, the Fool's Journey. However, I do think some of them in the Rider-Waite get in the way because they're considered the Bible, the backbone. They've actually just not questioned a lot of times. I mean, yeah, because it's an artist's interpretation of that combination or of that archetype. Yeah. There's only a few though, most of it's pretty good. This is excellent. And that's why you'll find throughout pretty much all tarot decks, it'll be some sort of replication of that, some variation. Anyway, so in here, oh yeah, it's coming back to me. There's not much more. Yeah. Okay, so in the truth, in the revelation, in the shocking whatever, bolt of lightning, the tower's going to come crumbling down. These two have been thrown out. That's why it's often known as a divorce card, burning house, and all the other sorts of the horrible sort of scary stories that, I don't know, you all kind of hear about tarot, and I guess think about tarot before you get involved in it. Now, I mostly just want to talk about the color black. And you'll see that the devil also has the black background. And there are a few other cards. There's 5 of cups, I think, 10 of swords. I'll miss some. But anyway, there are very few cards within the tarot deck, majors and minors, that have this black background. Now, the reason, and that's what I was saying in the beginning, this card will always be shocking. It'll always be change. It'll always be sudden, and it's out of your control. It's external. It's something external that will impact you internally and externally, actually. You just don't know how far-reaching the consequences of that are, or what the implications are. So even though it could just be a phone call, whatever it is, that's the unknown quantity of the card. It could just be somebody calling with some news about a cousin that, is shocking, or who knows. Or it could be much, much bigger. But it will be shocking, and it'll be revelation, and it'll be changing in any capacity. Now the black, the darkness is destruction. As I was saying before, with destruction, once this false tower crumbles, and then we can rebuild, create, we have to destroy first. And funnily enough, the destruction, creation forms from the darkness. So darkness was first. The chaos was first. Even in the Bible, in the beginning, I think it was darkness, and then God said, let there be light. So it's from darkness that creation comes, that we find the light. From chaos, what is it? It's from the chaos anyway that that anything can emerge. The darkest dawn before, not the darkest dawn. It's the darkest at night before the dawn. All of that sort of stuff. But it's from the darkness that we find the light, is what I'm trying to say, that all creation stems from. But there has to be destruction first. It's hard to actually convey, I guess, because it's hard to even get your head around. It's also, the message is that the Hindu goddess Shiva, the destroyer goddess, dancing destruction of death, something like that. Anyway, death and destruction. But she's celebrated for creation. It's just that circle. The destroyer goddess, who's much beloved, who's welcomed, and it's the same here, because we always want truth, don't we? I mean, good heavens. As I said, it's an act of mercy from a loving, divine universe to do this. And by the way, before this drastic measure is taken, there will be plenty of warnings. Plenty of warnings, plenty of help, plenty of time to mend your ways or to do something about it, or there will. This is the final straw. And that's why in the tarot, this is the climax. This is how bad it can get. The capacity of this card, I'd say, is probably the worst within the tarot. And I'm not saying that, I'm not being a drama queen or anything. It's just the capacity of this card. You know, it's just so that with the black background, it's completely unknown. Other cards around it, obviously, will give you a great indication of whether it is going to be in that higher octave with the Plutonian influence and Scorpionic, so that we can get the spiritual cleansing and awakening and start again on truth and with divinity, start building our house upon the rock. The wise man builds his house upon the rock. Completely lost there. But yeah, so other cards around it will show you whether it's going to be in this higher octave, or whether it's going to be in the lower physicality, the Mars, the Aries, which as I said, might be violence, or it could be more physical, as in your house might be on fire, or you might be evicted, or very physical in that way. Can be accidents and things. I mean, that, who knows? Whatever it takes to, wake you up. Whatever the bolt of lightning is for individuals, that's what it'll be. The divine will know what's going to wake you up. So it's all tailor-made. And as we can see down here, it's built on. I think that's like an iceberg. I'm not sure. So it's rather Titanic-esque, isn't it? But anyway, it's false foundations, false beliefs, ego, ego, which will just constantly need to be fed, constantly, because there's external validation and attachment. Attachment is misery, or whatever. There's a good saying, like I think it's a Buddhist saying. Yeah, I'll try and think of exactly the wording. Anyway. Now, these guys, as I said, when it hails back to the Chariot, where we've got the mother, father qualities. I just thought I'd show you there. So we've got the Empress, the ultimate mother. She's the mother of the tarot. She represents fertility and just the ultimate feminine, I guess. You can see all the nature and earth around her. Sensuality. She's ruled by Venus, which is the lower octave of I'm not going on my head. I'll look it up in a sec. Anyway, so she's Venus. Venus herself. And then the Emperor, that is Aries, but that's in his purest form, I guess. And in loving conjunction, the two of them, when these two energies are embraced properly and integrated, that's when we have the lovely Chariot, exercising self-control and moving forward victoriously. Number 7. It's a perfect number, really. When you think about life and cycles of 7, completion, even within our bodies, well, even within, of course it would be, we're part of nature, we're part of this universe. But you just, if you notice and start to take note of cycles and numbers and things like number 7 is the perfection number. Okay. I think that's about all I did have to say. I think I'm going to have a look. Let's have a look quickly for that dopey quote. I'm sure everybody cares. Anyway, I know. Let's see. All right, so that's it. Just wanted to do the comparison decky thing. What am I doing? A thingy on planets, I think. Well, that's it. Just a second. Neptune, of course. Sorry, I think when it, like when you focus, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so it's Neptune. So Venus is which is usually Taurus and another one. Anyway, mostly Taurus. And Neptune is associated with Pisces. So again, we're talking about beauty and things, but but it's about love. And whether it's the Taurus is based on sensual, earthly love mostly, and it's about beauty, and that's all roped in there. Whereas Piscean energies, it's the oldest sign in the zodiac. It deals with love at a much deeper, spiritual, mystical, and deeper level. Like he gets right. He's the deep diver, diving into those waters, exploring all aspects of love. And the other way, like fear, love. Anyway, so that's Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, which is more sensual, and Neptune being more spiritual. I will end on that note. And there were about 1,000 things I was going to say, though. Anyway, that's it. See ya.